Hey guys, have a fun activity for you today. It's our Chapter 6 summative. This is our chapter on type and the manipulation of type and applying effects to it. So I was trying to think of a fun activity we could do for a summative, and a couple years ago I came up with a magazine cover. And I didn't want to leave you with a little guidance as to what to put on the magazine cover, so I chose the topic for you. It's going to be a water ski magazine, and you can choose from two different water skiers. The first is a gentleman named Freddy Krueger, and I'm going to show you a video of him in just a second. And the second option is a water skiing squirrel named Twiggy, and I'm going to show you a video of that as well.
Finally, tonight, your idea of some summer fun might include a boat and some skis, but I guarantee your skills on the water do not look like what you are about to see. Today at the X Games, one record-setting daredevil taking ski jumping to soaring new heights. Do not call this water skiing. Call it crazy, call it a world record. His name is Freddy Krueger, no relation to the evil horror movie guy. He is an Evel Knievel on skis, and this is the jump that landed him in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Today, to get over that 300, that was the goal from the very beginning. I am so excited.
Soaring 312 feet, the length of a football field, and into the end zone, too.
We had the opportunity to go for the record if the weather was right. Literally, at the last second, we said, you know what, let's go for it. It was a perfect jump.
Our friends at ESPN breaking it down. To pull this off, Krueger has to hit the ramp at exactly 72 miles per hour. By the time he hits the top, he's accelerated to 80, the aerodynamic lean, a 30-degree angle, just like an airplane wing, creating higher air pressure that sends him flying.
Okay, you ready? Here you go, please.
Alright, so I hope you like the video of both Freddy and Twiggy. You're going to get your choice which one you want to use for your magazine cover, but I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create this magazine cover using Freddy. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is open up Photoshop, and I'm going to open a file that exists. So I'm going to go File, Open, and now I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to make it easier on you. Let's do it this way. Let's go to File. Actually, just hit Create New right there. And let's go, we're going to go Custom. We're going to go measure this in inches, okay? So I'm going to just give you a standard size for a magazine. It's not exactly accurate because in production they go slightly bigger than this, but just to make it easy for you, we're going to go 8.5 by 11. So we're going to go inches as a unit of measure, and width is going to be 8.5, so let's choose 8.5 right there. And our height is going to be 11. Resolution, we can just bump that up to 300 pixels per inch, and we do not want a grayscale color mode, so I'm going to go RGB color, pixels per inch. The rest of it looks good, and I'm going to hit create. Alright, so I have the template for my magazine cover, the basic size. Now I need to bring in my image, and there's those you should download. You can download whatever file you want to use from Schoology. I'm going to go to Open because I've already put them on my desktop in a folder called Chapter 6, and I'm going to go with Freddy, which is this image right here. Notice I open this in a different tab. Now we're going to use a method called crop. So if you look on your tool panel to the left, your crop tool, I need to go back to the correct workspace so I can see it. So let me go Window, Workspace, let me go back to Essentials. So I'm going to go to the Essentials workspace, and when I do that, my crop tool comes back. So make sure you go to the correct workspace. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth tool down. This is my crop tool. I'm sure you've used this on your phone or some other device in the past, Microsoft Word, that software, whatever it may be. Now I'm going to specify a ratio, okay? So I'm going to choose 8.5 by 11, okay? 8.5 by 11. And this is not necessarily 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches tall. This is a ratio, so it's 8.5 parts wide by 11 parts tall. And then you can apply that to whatever unit measure you want on your other file, which we've already done. So now I have 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to reposition Freddy, the water skier, on my screen just like this. Now, do you see these lines right here? This represents rules of thirds. So if you've ever taken an art class, you understand that when you're dealing with rules of thirds, you want your focal point to be where these lines intersect. In this case, I want my focal point to be Freddy's head. So I'm going to get his head close to the intersection of these lines, and that follows the principle of rules of third. The rules of third in art is your primary area of focus. So that's where I want it, and I'm going to hit my commit button right there to commit it. So, whoops, move out just a little bit. All right, so this is my cropped picture. All right, it's the correct aspect ratio for my other file, so I'm going to move it over. I'm going to unlock my background layer right there. I'm going to hit OK, grab my move tool, and I'm going to move Freddy over to the other document and drop it right there. And you'll see it brought it in the correct size. So that's the image of Freddy right there. And I'm going to name the layer Freddy, so okay. Now, I want to create a title for this document. So I'm going to call, or not document, for this magazine, I'm going to call this water ski. So I'm going to get my text tool right there. And I've got two sets of instructions here. And I'm going to go with a specific font. I'm going to go TW, so I'm going to go to my T's. So it's TW all the way down to my T's. And I believe it's that one right there. Yes, TW right there. Select that one. And do I want regular? We're going to go bold italic. So right there, let's change this to bold italic. And our font size is going to be 125 points. So 125 is our font size, and we want to go with, we're going to go with a color that we sample from our image. So this color box right here, I'm going to click on that. It's going to bring up my color picker, but if I scroll on the canvas, I'm going to select white from his this little bib or shirt he's wearing right there. So I'm going to go right there, select that white, and hit OK. So it now puts white on my fill color. So now I'm going to click on the canvas, and I'm going to click my cap lock button and type water ski. Right like that. And then I'm going to position it right there on my canvas so it's somewhat centered. I'm going to add a black stroke to my title. So let me go here to my FX button right there. I'm going to go to stroke. And when this box comes up, I need to adjust the fill color to black. So right there, I'm going black. All right, I'm going to go a size of 2. I'm only going a 2 pixel black stroke there. It's outside position, blend mode's normal. Opacity, I'm going to take that up to 100%. And I'm going to hit OK. All right, so that puts that small black stroke on the title right there, and I could see that effect on my layer panel as well. All right, I'm going to extrude, I'm going to take this text to 3D in the workspace. Before I do, I want to apply a drop shadow to it. So let me go to FX on my layer panel. I'm going to go to drop shadow. And I want to bump my opacity up to right about 85% right there. I'm going to increase my spread just a little bit. And I'm going to change my drop shadow color to black. So I'm going to go fill that color right there. I'm going to go to black, and I'm going to hit OK. And let me adjust the size just a little. That's way too much. Let me go 15 on the size, and I like how that looks. So the setting I went with was distance of 13, spread of 9, size of 15, and I went OK. All right, so that's what I'm left with my title. Now I'm going to convert this to a 3D object. So I'm going to go to Type on the menu bar. I'm going to go to Extrude to 3D, and that's going to take me to my 3D workspace. I'm prompted with this message, and I'm going to hit Yes. All right, so once in the 3D workspace, make sure you have your rotate the 3D object button chosen, and you're simply going to rotate your text on the canvas slightly, like that, and then you're going to go back to your layer panel right there and choose a different layer, and you've now manipulated that text to a 3D effect. Okay, so water ski right there is what we want. All right, let's go ahead, and your magazines usually have a barcode on the front or the back. We're going to put a barcode right on the front. So I'm going to go to Google and simply type barcode. I'm going to go to my images, and just magazine barcode. I'll click on that. It has one for me. Let me just go right here. I'm going to click on that image and just save it from this spot. You don't need to put it in a larger new tab to size it, make it bigger. So I'm going to go to Spot, Save Image As, and it's going to go in my Chapter 6 folder. I'm calling it Barcode. All right, I'm going to place that on my magazine cover. So File, we're going to go to Place Embedded. I'm looking in Chapter 6. There's my barcode. And I'm going to size it down. Let me undo that. Let me hold Shift to maintain the aspect ratio. All right, so resized it, and I'm going to position my barcode down there. I'm good to go. All right, next thing I want to do, I'm going to add a date to this magazine cover. So I'm going to grab my text tool right there. I'm going to go with a similar color to what's in water ski, so I'll leave it right there. And the font size I'm going to use, let me go a font size of 40. And we're going to stick with the same font. And I'm going to call October. I don't want both. I'm just going to go regular up there. Same font, but regular. And let me take this down to 30 because 40 seemed too big. All right, so I'm October. Uh, 2020. Okay, so October 2020, I'm going to commit my transformation. I'm going to reposition my text on the canvas. Okay? All right, so that's very plain, very boring text, so I'm going to make that pop just a little bit with some effects. First one I'm going to use is I'm going to do another stroke here. This time I'm going to sample the green from the stroke color, so I'm going to click on my color box right there, sample the green from just below his neck, and hit OK. And we move this to see what that's looking like. All right, so stroke size of 2 looks fine. Outside opacity 100%, that's fine. So October 2020, and I'm going to apply a drop shadow as well. So let me go to FX and drop shadow. And boy, I like how that turned out right there. You can really see it. But I'm going to drop the opacity just a little bit. So that looks better. I took the opacity down to 70%. You can maintain all the settings from the previous water ski drop shadow and hit OK. All right, so that's what you got right there. So October 2020 was the last thing we put. Now let's go ahead and put our main title for an article within the magazine. The name of that's going to be Jump Tips with Freddy Krueger. So I'm going to get to my text tool, and we're going to sample the red in that on that shirt he's wearing. So red, go that red color. Oops, I made a mistake. Let me select the background first so it doesn't think I'm trying to change the fill color of the previous layer of text. So I got my text tool, get the fill color. I'm going to sample the red from that his bib and hit OK. And this time I'm going to go with a font size of, let's try 48 point, see what that looks like. I'm going to type right there. I'm going to type jump, and I need to move it up on my layer panel so I can see. Jump tips with, let's capitalize everything. It looks better. It makes it pop. So let's hit jump tips with, and I'm going to hit space or enter there, Freddy Krueger. So then let me go ahead and move that over so you can see what we're dealing with, and we may decide we need to adjust the size. Yeah, it's a little too big. So let me take the size down. I'm going to double click my capital T right there, And this time, let's take that down to a 40-point font. See if that looks, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Don't commit it. Select it again. Double click it. This time, 40-point font right there. Let's see what we look like. I think that looks better. But I want this to be a little closer together. So let me go to my character workspace. I'm going to go to my text workspace. So Window, Workspace. We're going to Graphic and Web. And that'll bring up my character panel right here. All right, so let me. That's what it was. All right, so you're going to, I want you to go to your set the leading right there. This will decrease the space in between the text. Let me play around with these a little bit. 24 is not enough. Let me go 36. All right, so what I did is I went to the character panel, set the leading. It decreased the space between the two lines of text, and that's exactly what I want. So if you go to the 40-point font, that font type, make sure you have 36 in your leading setting right there. All right, so that gives you that. All right, so jump chips with Freddy Krueger. Now, I'm going to, before I put any effects on this at all, I'm going to drop the, I'm going to increase the size of the F, increase the size of the K, and I'm going to drop the baseline shift as well. So grab my text tool, I'm going to select the F. All right, and let's hold, let's just go right there. I'll go 48 on this, just a little bit, and I'll do the same thing with K. Change that to 48. And I'm also going to drop the baseline shift right there. So let me go -15 because it's already set to -10. Drops that K just a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing with the F. I probably should have done it when I had it selected just a second ago. So -15 and commit it. And now when I zoom out, that's what I have. And let me go ahead and apply an effect to this. So effects, let's go bevel and emboss on this one. And let's go inner bevel. Let's go, which one looks better? I like the chisel soft effect right there, so go with that. Depth, let's take that to 150 and see what it looks like. Oops, it jumped away, so let me double click bevel and emboss. 150% size is 100 pixels and everything else looks good. So I like that, that looks good. All right, let's put a secondary text layer down there. So I'm gonna go select Freddy again, grab my text tool, and I'm going to type, I'm going to add it to a path. I'm going to do it a little different this time. So let me delete that. All right, so grab your ellipse tool right there, and we're going to have path specified on the options bar. And this time I want you to create this ellipse down here, all right, just like we did in the lab packet in the lesson. And you're going to add text to this. So, oops. All right, so right about there, I'm going to grab my text tool. We'll stick with the same font. We are going to go, let's go back to font size of 36 because this is going to be a secondary article. It's not the main article. And I'm going to attach to, let me zoom in just a little bit for you. I'm going to attach to the path right down there. So I'm going to click on that. And you'll see it has all the text. And let me do something. Do that. All right, let me attach to the path. And when you do, everything's highlighted. At this point, just hit the delete key to get rid of it. And you're going to type top 10 water ski professionals. And I'm gonna have to, oops, can't spell. I'll commit that, and I'm gonna resize that as well, so it should go back. So let me select everything there. And let me take this to 24-point font if that makes everything a little bit better, and it does. All right, so that's 24-point font. I'm going to change the font color. So let me go right here, and let me just go with let's see what blue looks like. Dark blue. I don't think he has any. There's blue in the picture for us to sample. There's not. So we're going to see what that looks like. It may not look good at all, and I don't think it does because there's no other blue. So let's change that. Double click the T, and instead of that blue, I'm going to sample that green from his ski, and I'm going to make this bold. I'm going to commit it, and I'm going to transform this a little bit. So I'm going just outside of. Why does that do that? Did that? So I just want to rotate it slightly. And if you can't get exactly where you want, you've got a setting right here. So instead of -2.9, it's jumping on me. Let's go -1. See if that looks cleaner. All right, so -1 is what I want to use. And it's hard to see that green, so we're going to have to apply effect to it so we can. Let's try a simple drop shadow right there. So FX, drop shadow. And that's too much. Let me take the size down to, let's go 8 on the size. Distance, let's go 8 as well. And hit OK. All right, so that looks pretty good. I might have to rotate this back just a little bit. Let's go -1, -1 right there, up to there, and commit it. And uncheck your show transform controls. And that's it, guys. This didn't take very long. Hopefully it was easy for you and you were able to follow along. And we'll see you soon.